This broken down building is all that remains of the magnificent homes built by a group of French counts in the late 1800s. They came here to Whitewood, Saskatchewan with grandiose dreams, but their money and their status would be no match for the rugged Canadian prairies. At one time, this area near Whitewood boasted more nobility than any other place in North America. They came here because France had become a republic, and the aristocracy was losing its preferred place in society.
They were part of royalty. I mean, they were basically the elite of France at the time, and they were in danger of losing this. And so they thought, well, I mean, we'll go to the northwest and we'll set up basically our own system there. And it basically was working out not too bad for them to start with.
So when did the Counts come here?
The Counts are coming about 1886.
Blaine Coleman is a local historian. He says at least 13 French Counts came here with their countesses, servants, and luggage in tow.
Well, I'm sure they were shocked. It was a treeless prairie and very wild and unforgiving country.
They tried to tame it with grand houses, luxurious clothes, and extravagant lifestyles. The upper crust of French society introduced horse races, classical music, and fancy balls to their bewildered neighbors.
They would rent the hotel in Whitewood and take the complete hotel over, and they would hold balls, and it would be like everybody would be dressed up to the nines, and with well, like one person commented, they didn't know that there would be that many evening gowns and tuxedos in the whole country.
They also had ambitious plans to build thriving businesses, but arrogance and ignorance would get in the way.
They figured they could work over here and do a percentage of less work for much more returns.
Take Count Yves de Ruffignac. He tried to set up a sugar beet plantation, complete with distillery. Everything was fine until he discovered that distilling alcohol on his farm was illegal. Or Alphonse de Seyssel. He set up a cheese factory, then found out that the acidic feed available for dairy cows in Saskatchewan didn't lend itself to a very tasty Gruyere. Or Maxime de Cassis. His sheep farm was running smoothly until his chief herder was run over by a cart and killed. The operation soon failed.
These people are aristocrats, and they had the money, and I'm sure they believed they could do just about anything they wanted to and make it work. But on the most part, I believe that the ventures they did try, it was more circumstances than ignorance that killed them.
Bernadette Gatin isn't quite as easy on the French Counts.
They were counts. They never worked a day in their life. Those guys had never worked. He didn't know what it was.
Gatin was just a little girl when her family arrived in the area.
They rode horseback, they rode the hounds, they danced, they visited, and they didn't work. They didn't know what work was.
So you're telling me they had a good time?
They probably did, but they all went bankrupt.
Most of the Counts were defeated by this strange and unforgiving place. Their ventures failed miserably, and by 1900, almost all of them had abandoned the area and returned to France. But the aristocracy left behind a legacy of class and sophistication.
The legacy is a French settlement here that has been played a big part in Whitewood. A strong Roman Catholic church here, so and a lot of good history.
The French Counts left behind one other important thing: their servants. Families like the Brulés and the Boutins stayed behind and built new lives for themselves in Saskatchewan, and their descendants still live in this area today. I'm Bill Waiser.